Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today we're going to be doing things a little bit differently.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be like a deep dive, but into you.
Into me.
Well, not like we're going to be looking at your internet search history or anything like that,
Okay.
but more in a way that like taps into this core idea in Buddhist philosophy
Okay.
about how we see ourselves and how that shapes our reality.
Interesting.
Yeah. So have you heard about this idea of mirror consciousness?
Yeah. I think I have heard that before somewhere.
Yeah. So is that basically like our minds are kind of like mirrors?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like, they reflect not just what's around us,
Right.
but also like all of our inner thoughts and beliefs and everything.
So it's not just about like a physical mirror.
Right.
It's more like a metaphor.
Exactly. It's like a metaphor for introspection.
I see.
Like you think about like a mirror.
Yeah.
The mirror will just reflect whatever's placed in front of it.
Right.
And it's the same with our minds. Our minds will reflect like our deepest beliefs or our fears or aspirations.
So if we only see ourselves in kind of a negative light, does that then like influence the kind of reality that we're experiencing?
Yeah, that's kind of what Buddhist teachings suggest.
Really?
Yeah, the source material that I was looking at, it highlights this really powerful quote.
Yeah.
It says, "The mind is everything. What you think you become."
Wow.
So it's really pointing to like how important it is to like cultivate a clear and positive self-perception.
That's powerful. So then how do we start to shift that perception? Does it start with just like becoming more aware of what's going on in our minds?
Yeah, absolutely. Buddhism, it emphasizes this practice of mirror mind.
Okay.
And it involves just like observing your thoughts and feelings,
Right.
but without judgment.
Yeah.
So it's like, imagine you're holding up a mirror to your mind
Okay.
and you're just witnessing what comes up,
Yeah.
but you don't get carried away with it.
So it's kind of like that mindfulness practice.
Yeah.
Like noticing those thoughts and not getting swept away.
Exactly. Mindfulness can be such a powerful tool
Right.
because when we're practicing mindfulness,
Yeah.
we start to see the things that are clouding our perception, like the negative self-talk, the limiting beliefs.
That dust.
Exactly, the
Yeah.
dust. We create space between ourselves and those thoughts.
Yeah.
And we start to realize that we are not our thoughts.
So it's not about stopping those negative thoughts.
Right.
But it's more about changing how we relate to them.
Exactly, yeah. And this also ties into the Buddhist concept of anatta, or non-self.
Okay.
It's a little bit of a mind bender, but essentially what it means is that we are not defined by like our fleeting thoughts or feelings.
Okay.
We're the awareness that's observing those things.
So if I'm not my thoughts, then who am I?
Ooh, that's the million-dollar question.
Right.
Buddhism, it encourages us to explore that question through self-observation and meditation. But for our purposes today, what's really important is recognizing that you are not your thoughts.
Gosh.
You are not your emotions.
Right.
They're simply passing phenomena.
Okay, I think I'm starting to get it. So by like cultivating this mirror mind through practices like mindfulness,
Right.
we could start to see ourselves more clearly.
Yeah.
But what about the stuff that we see that we don't like?
Hmm.
Does Buddhism talk about self-acceptance at all?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, the source material really emphasizes that self-awareness, it's only the first step.
Right.
It's not about like striving for some unattainable perfection,
Yeah.
but rather it's about embracing ourselves fully,
Okay.
including like all of our imperfections.
So we have to learn to accept ourselves, warts and all.
Exactly. Self-acceptance, that's the foundation for growth.
Okay.
Because we can't change what we don't first accept.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing our inherent worthiness,
Yeah.
regardless of our flaws.
Regardless of our flaws, yeah.
And I think a lot of people really struggle with that.
Yeah.
I know I do sometimes. It's so easy to compare ourselves to others
Yeah.
or to just dwell on our shortcomings.
It's a common struggle. You know, the source material actually uses this great metaphor.
Okay.
It suggests that like a lot of people are afraid to look in the mirror, not because of their physical appearance, but because of what it might reveal about their inner world.
That's so true. Like, we're afraid to confront those parts of ourselves
Yeah.
that we judge or dislike.
Exactly.
So is Buddhism telling us to face our fears?
Yes, but not in like a harsh way or like a self-critical way.
Okay.
It's about approaching those parts of ourselves
Yeah.
with compassion and understanding.
Yeah.
Remember, the mirror, it's just reflecting what's already there.
So instead of running away from the mirror,
Yeah,
we should use it as a tool for
exactly.
self-discovery and growth.
Exactly.
I like that.
Yeah, so by cultivating self-awareness and self-acceptance, we begin to shift our self-perception.
Okay.
And that shift in perception can have a ripple effect on our whole lives.
So it's not just about like feeling better about ourselves. It's about actually creating a more positive and fulfilling reality.
That's the idea. It's about understanding that there's this profound connection between our inner world and our outer experience.
And this is where it gets really interesting.
Yeah.
Because the source material, it draws a parallel between Buddhist teachings and the law of attraction.
Right.
Like the idea that what we believe, we manifest.
Exactly. And that's such a powerful concept that can be applied to all areas of life, like from our relationships to our careers to just our overall well-being.
Yeah.
But I think before we jump into that, let's just take a moment to reflect on what we've discussed so far.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
What stands out to you from this first part of our deep dive?
For me, it's the power of that mirror metaphor. It's such a simple image, but it's so profound.
Right.
And it really encapsulates like the essence of Buddhist teachings on self-perception.
Yeah.
It's like by learning to see ourselves clearly and with compassion, we can begin to create the reality we desire.
Exactly.
I love that. It's like this reminder that true change starts from within.
Yes.
And that we have the power to shape our own reality.
Exactly.
Starting with how we see ourselves.
Yes. And in the next part of our deep dive, we're going to explore how this shift in self-perception can actually lead to a more abundant and fulfilling life.
Can't wait. Okay, so we talked about that mirror mind and like how self-awareness and self-acceptance are like key to shaping our reality.
Right.
But how does that actually work? Like, how does changing how we see ourselves on the inside lead to changes in our lives on the outside?
Well, that's where the connection to the law of attraction becomes really interesting. Buddhism has always emphasized that our thoughts and our beliefs, they have like a really powerful influence on the reality that we experience.
Right.
And the law of attraction, it kind of takes it a step further by suggesting that our thoughts can actually attract corresponding experiences into our lives.
So it's not just wishful thinking.
No.
It's more about like the energy that we're putting out into the world.
Yeah, exactly. Like our self-perception, it creates this energetic blueprint that shapes the reality that we attract. So if we're constantly like focusing on all these negative thoughts or self-doubt, then we're more likely to attract experiences that mirror those beliefs.
Okay, so let's say I'm struggling with self-doubt. What can I do to like shift that energy and start attracting more positive experiences?
Well, the source material that I was looking at, it talks about a couple of really powerful practices that you can do. So one of them is positive self-reflection. Instead of like dwelling on all your shortcomings, try focusing on your strengths, on your accomplishments, the things you're grateful for. You know, it's about consciously choosing to see yourself in a more positive light.
So it's kind of like looking in the mirror and saying, hey, you're actually pretty awesome.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And another powerful practice that's mentioned is a metta meditation or loving kindness meditation.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Yeah.
But I always thought that that was more about being nice to others.
Well, it is about cultivating kindness and compassion.
Right.
But it starts with directing those feelings toward yourself.
Oh.
It's about recognizing your inherent worthiness and sending loving energy to yourself, just as you would to a close friend.
So it's like building up that self-love.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead of like beating ourselves up for our mistakes,
yeah,
we're offering ourselves kindness and understanding.
Exactly. And the idea is that by like cultivating these positive feelings within,
yeah,
we naturally start to radiate more positive energy outwards.
Yeah.
And that positive energy then attracts more positive experiences back to us.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's like we become magnets for all the good stuff by first becoming good to ourselves.
Exactly. But of course, it's not always easy to stay positive, right?
Right.
We all have self-doubt and negative thoughts.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Sometimes it feels like my inner critic is just on a constant loop. How does Buddhism say to deal with all those like pesky doubts?
Well, remember that concept of mirror mind we talked about?
Yeah.
It's about observing those thoughts without identifying with them.
Okay.
It's recognizing that those are just thoughts, they're just passing,
right,
and not the ultimate truth of who you are.
So instead of getting swept up in that spiral of self-doubt,
right,
I can like acknowledge it.
Yeah.
And just let it pass without judgment.
Exactly. You don't have to believe every thought that comes into your mind.
Okay.
You have the power to choose which thoughts you focus on and which beliefs you empower.
So it's about consciously choosing more empowering thoughts,
Mm-hmm.
even if those negative thoughts keep popping up.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a practice.
Okay.
It takes time and effort.
Yeah.
But the more that you practice mindfulness and self-compassion, the easier it becomes to detach from all those negative thought patterns and cultivate a more positive self-perception.
It sounds like it's all about like shifting perspective,
Yes.
like changing that lens that we see ourselves in the world through.
That's a great way to put it. In the source material that I was looking at, it talks about a specific shift in perspective that's crucial for creating abundance in our lives. And that's moving from a scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Yeah.
So what does Buddhism have to say about abundance? Isn't that more of a New Age thing?
Well, the concept of abundance is definitely a hot topic these days.
Right.
But Buddhism has been exploring this idea of the nature of abundance for centuries.
Really?
Yeah, and it goes beyond just material wealth.
So it's not just about having lots of money?
No.
Or possessions?
No, not at all.
Like?
In Buddhism, true abundance, it encompasses all aspects of life.
Wow.
Like love, joy, peace, fulfillment, as well as material well-being.
Okay.
It's about recognizing that we are all interconnected with this boundless source of abundance and that we are worthy of receiving it.
But what about when it feels like there's not enough to go around? Like when we're struggling financially or dealing with some difficult circumstances?
That's where the shift in mindset is so important.
Okay.
You see, a scarcity mindset, it tells us that there's not enough to go around.
Right.
And that leads to fear and competition and just a feeling of lack. And this limits our potential and actually blocks the flow of abundance into our lives.
So if I'm constantly worried about not having enough, I'm actually creating more scarcity.
Exactly. But when we shift to an abundance mindset, we recognize that there's limitless potential in the universe and our own inherent worthiness to receive. It's about trusting that there's always enough and that we are deserving of all the good things that life has to offer.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So how do we actually make that shift? It sounds great in theory.
Yeah.
But how do we move from a place of fear and lack to a place of abundance and trust?
Well, the source material really emphasizes that it's not just about positive thinking. It's about aligning our thoughts, our beliefs, and our actions with the reality that we desire. And one of the most powerful ways to do that is through daily rituals and small intentional actions.
So it's not just about sitting around and waiting for abundance to appear?
No, not at all.
Okay.
It's about actively cultivating an abundance mindset and taking those steps to align our lives with that reality. Even small changes can make a big difference.
So what kind of daily rituals are we talking about?
Well, the source material suggests starting each day with gratitude. Taking a few moments to appreciate all the good things in your life, even the small things that can set a positive tone and shift your focus towards abundance.
I love that. It's so easy to get caught up in what we don't have that we forget to appreciate what we already have.
Exactly. Another powerful practice is mindfulness. Like throughout the day, try to bring your awareness to the present moment. And notice the abundance that surrounds you. Like the beauty of nature, the kindness of strangers, the simple pleasures.
So it's about being present.
Yeah.
And appreciating the abundance that's already there.
Yeah.
Rather than always chasing after more.
Exactly. And another simple but powerful ritual is setting positive intentions for the future. So before you start your day or before you're tackling a task, take a moment to visualize yourself succeeding. To feel those emotions of achieving your desired outcome.
Oh, like that visualization technique where you imagine yourself living your dream life.
Exactly. Visualization is so powerful. It's used in a lot of spiritual traditions, including Buddhism. When we vividly imagine ourselves experiencing the things we want, we create this mental blueprint for our subconscious to follow.
So it's not just wishful thinking.
No.
It's more about actively aligning our energy and actions with the reality that we want to create.
Precisely. And that's a really powerful way to shift from that scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset and to ultimately manifest a more fulfilling and abundant life.
This is all so fascinating.
Yeah.
It seems like Buddhism offers such like practical
Yeah.
and empowering tools for shaping our reality.
Right.
But maybe we should take a pause here
Yeah, that's a good idea.
and reflect on what we've learned in this section.
Okay.
What are some of the key takeaways for you? You know, what's really clicking for me is like
Yeah.
how much power we actually have in shaping our reality.
Yeah.
It's so easy to just feel like we're reacting to the things that happen to us.
Right.
But this deep dive is like really making me see that
Yeah.
we're actually creating our experiences
Uh-huh.
through our thoughts and beliefs and actions.
Yeah, that's such a powerful insight.
Right.
And it's really at the heart of Buddhist teachings.
Yeah.
It's about empowering us to create a more fulfilling and meaningful life.
It's like we've been given this incredible toolkit
Yeah.
for self-transformation,
Uh.
but most of us don't even realize it exists.
That's such a great analogy. And all the tools are there.
Yeah.
Like mindfulness, self-compassion, positive self-reflection, visualization.
Right.
All these practices that can help us to shift our self-perception
Yeah.
and create a more positive reality.
So we've explored all these amazing concepts.
Yeah.
But for our listener out there,
Mhm.
what's like the one thing they should take away from this deep dive?
You know, I think the key takeaway is this.
Okay.
The power to change your life.
Yeah.
It starts by changing how you see yourself.
Okay.
When you cultivate that self-awareness.
Yeah.
When you embrace self-acceptance.
Uh-huh.
When you focus on the abundance
Right.
that already exists in your life.
Okay.
You start to align with a more positive and fulfilling reality.
It's like we're the artists of our own lives. And our self-perception is the brush that paints the canvas
That's beautiful.
of our reality.
I love that. And like any artist,
Yeah.
we have the power to choose.
Yeah.
The colors, the textures, the composition of our masterpiece.
So next time you look in the mirror, instead of focusing on your physical appearance,
Right.
just take a moment to acknowledge the potential
Yeah.
that's inside of you.
Ask yourself, what do I choose to see? And what reality will I create?
Wow.
Because the truth is, the power to create a more beautiful and fulfilling life,
Yeah.
it lies within every one of us.
And that's a beautiful note to end on.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the transformative power of self-perception.
It was a pleasure being here.
Until next time.